Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem, welcome back to today's Daf Yomi, Kesubos Peches. We are on the very bottom of Pei Zayin Amud Beis, Omar Rav Papa. So yesterday, we concluded with a halacha. An Isha has a claim, a ksuba claim against her former husband. He denies that claim. I've already paid you out. There is an Eid Echad, a single witness, on his side, advocating for his position. What does the Mishnah say? She will have to make a shavua. She will have to swear in order to collect that ksuba payout. The Gemara told us as well. This is not your typical standard shavua minat Torah, which typically involves a person swearing in order to exonerate himself. The point of shvua is to exempt yourself. So there's a claim against myself, and I go ahead and make a shvua to support my claim that I am patur, that I am free of that claim. That's typically how a shvua is applied. Right? You are nishba to become patur. Here, on the other hand, what's happening? She's going to make a shvua which will enable her to collect. It's in the other direction. You're nishba v'noitel. That's not your shvua minat Torah. It's a special takana. And the point is to put the husband at ease. Look, he has an Eid Echad supporting his claim. He's all agitated. She needs to swear, to support, to confirm her claim. There's another issue here because we're speaking about a claim relating to liens on real estate. Right? The ksuba can be collected from his karka, and we don't make a shvua pertaining to claims and denials relating to land. So, for both of these reasons, it's not considered shvua minat Torah. A, because it's land related. B, because typically a shvua minat Torah is meant to make you patur, to prove innocence. And here it's doing the other way around. It's allowing you to collect. It's only a shvua midrabanan. Amar Papa, I pikechu. If we happen to have a wise husband here, he can manipulate this whole story. He can rearrange the facts to the extent that he will generate upon her. He will obligate her to make a shvua minat Torah. Now, what's the difference between this type of shvua and the other? Rashi says, big difference. Shvua minat Torah must be done with a Shem Hashem. You're holding a Sefer Torah, etc., which don't apply to a shvua midrabanan. He wants to make it more official, more formal, more serious. How does he go about doing that? How can he produce a shvua minat Torah? This is how. Listen to this. Yoiv l'ksubasa ba'apichat sahada. Let's step back for a second. Where are we holding? She's interested in collecting her ksuba. He denies. He says, I paid you the ksuba. In front of so-and-so, right? The Eid Echad. Then he goes ahead, and he's Yov lo ksuvasa. He gives her another ksuba payout, another 200 zuz, a full amount, ba'apichat zahada, in front of another Eid. So if the first event took place on Sunday in front of Reuven, he repeats it again in front of Shimon on Monday. And what does he do? He brings together the first Eid, Reuven from the Sunday story, and puts them together with Sahada Basra, the second Eid, with Shimon. Brings them to Bezdin. And he says, look, Rabbi Say, I have two Eidim that I have already paid out the ksuba. It so happens to be that Reuven is speaking about Sunday's payout and Shimon is about Monday's payout. It's irrelevant. End of the day, there's a common denominator here. I am patur. I have already paid out my ksuba. That's number one. So he's exempt. Totally exempt. There are two Eidim. There's no challenging the two Eidim. Okay? So accept that as fact. He's patur from ksuba going forward. What does he do to recoup his first payout? Umukim luhu lahanach kamoi, he establishes and he relabels that first payout, the money that he gave yesterday on Sunday, b'muva, as a loan. Basically what he's saying is like this. We have two separate issues to deal with. The husband's obligation to pay the ksuba, from which he is now patur, because he has two witnesses who corroborate on that. Look, this fellow paid out the ksuba. Sunday, Monday, it's irrelevant. He is patur. Okay? Once that's concluded, he now turns to her and he says, look, I lay a claim of X amount on you, my wife, my former wife, because, look, on Sunday, I paid you. That was extra money. It's like a milva. It's like a loan, meaning you owe me that money. It's outstanding. In fact, I have an aide, Reuven, who watched me give you that money on Sunday. Now, that money was totally out of the ksuba context. Right? It was extra money. Pay it up. And what happens when you have a claim against a person and an eid echad on your side? This generates a shvua, which shvua, not madrabanan, minat Torah. She now has to make a shvua to support her position that she's patur. That's your classic shvua against an eid echad. A shvua to become patur. That's a shvua minat Torah. Maskef l'Rav Shisha Brei Davidi. I have a kash on that, he says. How can you do this? Haich samich sahado kama. How do you connect the first aid, Reuven from Sunday's story, Asahada Basra, together with the second aid, Shimon, from Monday's story? They're speaking about two different events, two different payouts. How do you connect the two people? Ella Omar of Shisha Brei Davidi. I'll tell you how to do it. Yoiv lo ksubasa bapi sada. Kama. Come Monday, he gives her another ksuba payout in front of both Edom. Sunday he had paid her out in front of Reuven. Okay? Well, that's in dispute. She's denying that. So what does he do? Monday, he repeats it. Another 200 zuz, but he brings together the two Edom. Sunday from yesterday. Let him watch this again. V'sahada basra. And in the presence of the next aid, Shimon. So now he has two Edom standing here, physically standing here, who observed that payout on Monday. He is now patur from ksuba. Now he turns around and he lays a claim on his wife, umukim lo lahanach kamay, and he redirects. He reclaims those monies from Sunday, the first payout behalva, like a loan, meaning it's an outstanding debt that you owe me. And in fact, I have an eid echad, Reuven, who saw that payout. You saw me handing that money to you. You owe me that money. You refuse. You deny. Make a shvur against an eid echad. That's a shvur minat Torah to exempt yourself, which requires all the, stringencies of the shvur minat Torah. The sefer Torah in your hand, etc., etc. Maskefla Rav Ashi. Rav Ashi has a problem with this as well. She can get out of this. She can turn around and claim, I acknowledge, sure. Sunday you paid me 200, Monday you paid me, but guess what? All of it was owed. Beis Kesubos Havoy. They represented payment on account of two ksuba documents that I had. Perhaps he married and remarried her and wrote her another ksuba. I deserve them both. There is no outstanding debt on my part. Elam Rav Ashi, says Rav Ashi, the only way to address this, it must be speaking the Moidalahu, that he informed the Edom in advance of the Monday event, that repayment event. He told them, look, we're running into issues with her. Let me explain to you what's happening. He tells them the whole story. They're fully prepared and cognizant of what they're about to observe. In which case, Rashi says, we no longer believe her story because it's not common that he would do one ksuba and another ksuba. Rather, his theory, his explanation is more plausible, and therefore we accept that as fact, and he will generate a shvur minat Torah against her. Continues the Gemara, Menachosam Mishabadim, and the Mishnah said, when you collect from real estate that had been sold off, when you collect from Yisoimim, and that's the focal point of the next Gemara, a person passed away, you have to collect from his kids. in all these cases, you must make a shvua prior to collection. Tanan Hassam, we have a Mishnah in Shvuos as follows, adding another twist to the halacha. Likewise, even if orphans are coming to collect on their father's loan, they can only collect by way of a shvua. The end of the story. What are we speaking about? Miman, who are they collecting from? We know their father's debt, but from whom? Are they going directly to the borrower who's still around? Why shvua? Why shvua? Hashta avian. Look, if their father were to be around, shaka b'lei shvua, you can fully collect without making any shvua against a loiva. That's standard procedure. You produce your document, you collect without swearing. Inu b'shvua. So why would they have to make a shvua? They're coming in his stead. They're empowered by their father's power. Elochi k'omar, rather the Mishnah meant as follows. Here's a chiddush. V'chein hayisoymim min hayisoymim. Suppose Reuven borrowed from Shimon. Both Reuven and Shimon passed on. Now Shimon's descendants are coming to collect from Reuven's descendants. Yisoymim min hayisoymim. And according to some Mefarshim, Reuven's descendants are sort of denying the claim. Look, our father paid it up. In this case, we obligate the claimers to swear. Lo yiparu ela b'shvua. They must swear, even though we have Yisoymim on both sides of the equation. Nevertheless, you're collecting from Yisoymim. We advocate for them, and we want you to authenticate your claim before you collect. Amar Rabbi Yehuda lo yishana. When do we say that they can collect by way of a shvua? Ela she'amru Yisoymim. That's only when the Yisoymim of the borrower will tell us, Amar lanu Abba. Look, our father had told us as follows. Lo visi. True, I acknowledge I borrowed that money from the Baal Chayv, uparati, and I've already paid it back. So in that instance, we require the collectors to swear, and in fact, swearing allows them to collect. Aval Amr, but suppose they claim as follows. Amar lanu Abba. Before our father passed away, he told us as follows. Lo visi. I never borrowed that money from him. It never happened. In this case, af b'shvua lo yifru. Even by way of a shvua, lo yiparu, they cannot collect their money. Maskav lo Rabbah, says Rabbah, just the opposite. Adrab, if anything, it's the other way around. If their father completely denied the incident, then he's digging a hole for himself. He's making it worse for himself and his kids. Why? You see, when a person said, I never borrowed, it's as though he's also saying, I never paid back. Right? Well, if you didn't borrow, obviously you didn't pay back. Now what happens if your opponent pulls out a shtar that you owe him that money, and you, with your own mouth, said you didn't pay back? True, you said you didn't borrow, but that's not up to you to say. He has a shtar to prove otherwise. But by way of your denial of Leila Visi, you have also acknowledged that you never paid back that money. So you're Maida. I never paid you back. So here their father told them, I never borrowed. And that other fellow has a shtar to prove him wrong. Never borrowed me, never paid back. So now they have to pay it back. So if anything, it's making it worse for themselves. Eloi itmar chi itmar, rather, if we learned it was as follows. Amar Zriki, Amar Yehuda, lo yishana. When do we require a shvua in order to collect from these children? Elasha Amru Yisoymim. That's only when the Yisoymim claim as follows. Amar lanu Abba. Our father happened to tell us, let me see the parati. Yeah, sure, I borrowed, but I repaid that loan. In this case, you need a shvua to collect from them. Aval Amru. But suppose they say, Amar lanu Abba lo lavisi. Our father denied the entire debt. He never borrowed. You don't even need a shvua. They're so off that you can just collect. Nifra and shali b'shvua. Go ahead and collect from them without a shvua because they've acknowledged that they never repaid that loan. Because when a person claims he never borrowed, in effect, what is he saying? What is he also saying? It's as though he's saying, I didn't pay back. And if their opponent has a shtar to prove that there was a loan, well then, pay up now. In the next case we have an Isha who's trying to collect a Kesuba, is trying to collect funds to support herself, Mezoines, throughout her husband's lifetime. He's not around, so she can go ahead and access his assets to provide for herself. You don't need a shvua. Sorry, you do need a shvua in order to do that. Amar of Achas, Habira, that was his name. Masaba, there was a story that was presented Lefnei Rabbi Yitzchak Nafcha, who was at that point Be'antuchya, in that town. And he explained like this. V'amar, he said, Lo yishanu el ksubas isha mishemechina. When do we allow a person to access an absent person's assets? That's only pertaining to collecting of a ksuba mishemechina, in order to generate grace. Rashi learns, so that the women will be inclined to marry. They'll see they're being treated well. Taisus has a different shot, so that the women will find favor in the eyes of men who will be inclined to marry them if they have some savings on the sides due to the ksuba that they were able to get. So when it comes to a isha, we allow for collection shaloi b'fanav. Aval ba'al chayv loy. But if there's a creditor looking to collect on his loan, and the Baal Chayv is nowhere to be found, he skipped town, you cannot access his assets. V'rova Amar of Nachman, sure, afilu Baal Chayv, even a Baal Chayv has the same privilege. Why? Otherwise nobody will lend his friend a dime. Shalo yehi kol echad ve'echad, noitel mo'isav shel chaveri. We're concerned that, we don't want people just to grab other people's money. Then skip town. It's not fair. Then he'll be shutting the doors in front of the borrowers, meaning you're going to be locking out the borrowers. Nobody will have an interest in extending credit if they have no recourse, no way to collect their loans. Okay, now we move on to the next part of the Mishnah, the last and final halacha. Reb Shimon Omer calls Mansha Tevas Kesubos. Perhaps let's just take a quick glance back at the top of Pezayim at base, where Reb Shimon Omer calls Mansha Tevas Kesubos. As long as the Isha is still looking to collect her Ksuba payout, Hayarshin Mashbin Oisa, then she's obligated to swear to the Yarshin. That she's deserving of that Ksuba, that she wasn't paid in advance. But if she has no Ksuba claim any longer, then no Shvua is applied. The Gemara will endeavor to explain what exactly Reb Shimon had in mind. We're going to have 3-4 attempts until we get final clarity. Okay, back to our Gemara. Reb Shimon what's Reb Shimon speaking about? Which case is he referring to? Amar Rabbi Yirmiyah, on the following case, the most recent discussion. If an Isha is in need of collecting money for the mezainis or for the ksuba from her departed husband. We're speaking about a husband who's still alive, but he's out of town. A shvua is in place. And the Tanakhama seem to make no differentiation between what she is claiming, why she is accessing his funds. Lo yishna lemezaini, whether it's for her mezainis needs, lo yishna leksuba, or whether it's for her ksuba payout, which is due to her upon divorce. Either way, if he's not around, you have to make a shvua to collect. So Reb Shimon Lamemer. Because Reb Shimon, he says, no, I disagree. For ksuba, yes, but if the husband skips town and the isha needs mezainis, there's no chiv shvua in that case. Calls man shetivas ksubasa. Sure, when she's looking to collect her ksuba, then Yarshin must be an isa. She can only do it with a shvua. Eino tivas ksubasa. But suppose she's not in a position to collect her ksuba. She's happily married. She just wants the mezainis. In that case, no shvua is applied. Ein Yarshin must be an isa. Now, what's the point of discussion? What's the background to this machlekes? Well, actually, it's a machlekes discussed elsewhere. And this machlekes between Reb Shimon, who says no shvua for mezainis, and Tanakhama disagrees, is perfectly in sync with another machlekes between Chanan and the children of the Kehanim Gedolim. This non, we have a Mishnah later on in the Masechta. Misha halach l'mdina sayam. This fellow skipped town. His wife is in need of putting together some funds for her mezainis. Do we impose a shvuah upon her? Machlokes. Chanan, that was his name, Chanan Aimer. No shvua to shava b'soif. Sure, later on, if and when she collects a ksuba, she will have to make a shvua that I'm fully due this money. I took nothing extra, nothing for mezainis, that no extra money that I take throughout his lifetime, etc. She makes one shvua at the end of the day. V'lo to shava b'tchila, but not initially when she's collecting mezainis. There was no chiyuv shvua for mezainis. We'll discuss this Be'ez Hashem later on in the Masechta. That's Chanan's opinion. No shvua for mezainis. Nechlaku Allah b'nei kahanim gedolim, but the other shita held no. V'amru, they said to shava b'tchila b'soif, just as she makes a shvua upon collecting her ksuba, to certify that indeed she's entitled to that money. Likewise, when she's accessing his funds for mezainis, a shvua is in place. So that's a machlokes we have here as well. Rabbi Shimon in our Mishnah, he holds kechanan, like Chanan, that there is no shvua for mezainis. But Rabbanan, who hold there is, are lined up with kivnei kahanim gedolim. Maskef l'Rav Sheshes. It sounds good, but the wording in the Mishnah is a bit problematic. Well, what are we speaking about? Husband's still alive. She's looking for mezainis. So why does the Mishnah say that the Yerushin are imposing a shvua? There are no Yerushin. The husband, the father, is alive and well. Hi, Yerushin mashbin oisa. Why are the Yerushin getting involved? Bezdin mashbin oisa meboile. We should be making reference to a bezdin imposing a shvua, not Yerushin. So this pshat doesn't work. Ella Amar Rav Sheshes, I'll tell you the pshat. We're speaking after his death. What is Rav Shimon referring to? Rather than the immediate Mishnah that they're speaking about, he's going back on the previous Mishnah, on Daf Peivav. Aha. We have a halacha about a husband who exempts his wife from making, any shvois. Right? He committed in writing, although I'm perhaps entitled to impose shvois on you, whether it's when you want to collect a part of your ksuba, the pegemes ksubasa, which we discussed yesterday, a shvua is meant to be applied. I'm going to exempt you from that obligation. Or if I appointed you an administrator to run my business, I have a right to get up any time and make a shvua, have you make a shvua to certify your honesty and integrity, right? But if he committed to in writing, I'm going to discount that shvua, I'm giving you an exemption, then he's not entitled to impose any shvua upon her. Now, the Mishnah tells us, suppose he tells her, look, I am not going to impose a shvua on you, and likewise my children will not have the right to impose a shvua on you. What is the halacha? So actually, I didn't explain this properly in the Mishnah. Let me explain it now. So the halacha will be that if he exempted her from his personal imposition and also his kids' imposition, she's patur from his shvua during his lifetime, and also after his passing. Suppose she's going to want to collect her ksuba. So even if typically the halacha would dictate that she would make a shvua, suppose we're speaking about a pegemes ksubos, etc., I'm exempting you. And likewise my kids cannot obligate you to make a shvua. But there's one exception. Suppose she decided to resume administering the business affairs of the children after his passing. So now it's their business. It's their assets. It's their transactions. Now they, of course, have a right to impose a shvua on her in order to ascertain that she's being honest and running the business with integrity. That's not his business. That's the kid's business. So again, let's just recap. He can exempt his wife. I will not impose a shvua on you. My children won't either, pertaining to matters that belong to me. Meaning, I will not make you have a shvua. My children cannot turn around and say, make a shvua on matters that you conducted during our father's lifetime. That's totally off limits. That's out of their domain. But concerning matters that are there in their domain, concerning apotropia, administering of their businesses after father's passing, that's their business. Of course, they can impose a shvua on her concerning to their interaction. Okay, so knowing that, let's go back to the Gemara. Ella Omar Rav Sheshes Aha. according to Rav Sheshes, Rabbi Shimon's statement pertained to this halacha in the Mishnah on Daf Pevav. Again, we're speaking about a husband who exempted his wife from any shvur, coming from him or coming from his kids, pertaining to father's interests. So in fact, as soon as he passed away, she went from the burial of her husband back home, the Beis Havia. She was not involved anymore in the family's affairs. Or she went back to her husband's home, her in-laws' home, but she wasn't involved in the administering of the business. She did not assume the apotropia position. In that case, they have no justification to impose a shvur on her. But if she did assume the apotropia position for the Yisayimim, so now it's like they hired her, and they have a full right to impose a shvur on her to ascertain her honesty. Yershin mashbiin oisa ala asad lavi. Anything pertaining to from father's burial going forward. Ve'ein mashbiin oisa al mashavar. But of course, they cannot impose a shvua on her pertaining to matters that occurred before the father passed away, because he had already exempted her on those matters. Bottom line is, when a person assumes an apotropos position, he administers the orphan's business, there is a shvua imposed on him to ascertain his honest running of the business. That's the underlying concept here. Even an apotropos after a father's death will have to make a shvua. And of course, we're speaking about an apotropos that was appointed by the father. Right? She had been doing business. She had been running the show during her husband's lifetime, and now she continued and maintained that position. The Yershim have a right to be mashbiah her on matters pertaining to after death. Well, at that point, they assumed, ownership, and they are her, employers, so to speak. So Rabbi Shimon comes, Rabbi Shimon, he says, nothing doing. There is no shvua imposed on any business administrator who was appointed by the father of the Yisayimim. Otherwise, he's not going to do the job. He's going to shy away. He's going to hesitate to take the position. If we're going to give him a hard time and impose a shvua on him, he'll be reluctant to assume that role. Says Reb Shimon. Right? Back to the Mishnah. When will Isha swear? When she's collecting her Kesubos from the Yisayimim. That's all. That's the one and only case that an Isha will be asked to swear. You want our money? Swear. Yershim mashbiin oisa. But she's not coming to collect. She is simply serving as an administrator, as an apotropia. But she's not coming to collect her Kesubos from them. They can't impose a shvu on her. That's the halacha. And Tanakama disagrees. Even an apotropia appointed by the father can be asked to make a shvu after his passing. And in fact, this machlekes of whether or not we impose a shvu on a administrator of the Yisayimim's assets is a machlekes, a well-known machlekes between Abba Shaul, who says yes, we do impose a shvuah on this person, v'Rabbanan, who disagree. This is not an apotropos, shemino avi Yisayim. He's an apotropos running the kids' affairs, who had already been appointed by their father before his passing. Yishava. Eventually, we can impose a shvuah on him to confirm, and to ascertain that everything is running properly. Minuhu Bezdin lo yishava. But if he was appointed by Bezdin, in that case, don't make it difficult for him. Don't impose unnecessary burdens and shvuos on him. And the reason is because Rashi explains this. If he was appointed by father, we assume father must have done something for him. a favor, something, which made him feel indebted, in which case he's trying to reciprocate, and therefore he's not going to drop the job when faced with a bit of difficulty. Therefore, we don't have to hesitate to impose a shvuah on him. But Bezdin, he's a public servant, acting out of the goodness of his heart. In that case, if you make it too difficult, you're not going to find people to do it. So that's the shita of the Chachamim. Whereas Abba Shol Eimer, Chiluf Hadvar, switch it around. Reverse your thinking. Minu Bezdin Yeshava, just the opposite. If this fellow is a Bezdin appointed administrator, no problem. Make it difficult for him. Because the cover, the honor, the respect amongst the community that he is garnering as a result of this prominent appointment outweighs all other calculations and all other considerations. He'll be willing to go through fire and water to maintain that position. Don't worry about it. Therefore, don't hesitate to make a shvuah, to impose a shvuah on him. Whereas me no avi yisayim lo yishava, if he was merely appointed by the father before his death, then his situation is a bit precarious. Don't make it too difficult for him. He's just trying to be nice and make it facilitate it. Don't make it more difficult. So now again, according to Abba Shol, if he's a administrator appointed by the father, don't get in his way. Whereas according to Chachamim, no problem. This fellow is indebted to the father. He's not going to drop it as per this slight difficulty. Rabbi Shimon Kabba Shol, bottom line is Rabbi Shimon and now Mishnah maintains that an administrator will not make a shvuah. That is in line with Abba Shol, Rabbanon, the Shitas Rabbanon, the Tanakama maintain there is a shvuah even in this post-death administrative situation. Rabbanon, that's in line with the Rabbanon. Maskefla Abaye, I have a kasha. She would tell me that Rabbi Shimon is trying to make things easier, right? No shvuah in this case. Hi, if you take a look at the lashon of Rabbi Shimon, what does he say? Hi, he calls Mashay Tivas Kesubos. As long as she still has the ksuba claim outstanding, she will make a shvuah, which almost sounds like Rabbi Shimon is extending and enhancing the ksuba, the shvuah obligations. Just the opposite. Rabbi Shimon is discounting and cutting it off and minimizing it. Im Tivas Mi Boili, he should have said it differently. If she's coming to collect her ksuba, then and only then will she make a shvuah. But there's no shvuah resulting from simply administrating the business affairs. So the wording is a bit off, according to you, Pshat. Elam Rabbi, I'll tell you the Pshat. Aha. Actually, Rabbi Shimon is not going back on the previous Mishnah, on the end of the previous Mishnah, but rather on the middle of the previous Mishnah, way back, where we learned as follows. Kosavla, a husband turned to his wife, and he commits to her in writing, Neder u'shvuah ein li alayich, I will never impose a neder or shvuah on you. Ein li yachal hashpia, in fact, he has to keep his word. What if he says, Neder or shvuah ein li, I will not impose, or my children won't, or my underlings, my customers, none of us will make it difficult for you, alayich, on you, val shayach, even on your descendants, all those that come because of you. He has to keep his word. Ein yochel lashpia. He gave up his right to impose a shvuah on her. Loihu, he can't. Yarshev, nor his kids. Bar mishusa, his customers. Loihi, not on her. Yasheh, on her descendants. Bar mishusa, her customers. So bottom line is, even if she comes to collect her ksuba from the Yisayimim, no shvuah. V'asar Reb Shimon Lameim comes to Reb Shimon and he says, yes, I disagree. Calls man shetivas ksubasa. Whenever an isha comes to collect her ksuba from Yisayimim, there's a special takana which overrides the father's stipulations. Yershin mashbiin oisa. The Yershin will impose a shvuah on her. We learned this the other day. He said, ma'aseh, right? Abba Shol ben Miriam says, what should I do? I know the father committed, but the takanas chachamim stands higher. That's Reb Shimon. Tanakama disagrees. Fact is, he exempted her. There is no shvuah. This machlekes between Reb Shimon and Rabban Bayas is the very same machlekes that we had between Abba Shol ben Miriam and the Rabban. Rabbi Shimon Bayas, who says there will be a shvua upon collecting ksuba, regardless of his commitments to her. He's in line with who? Kabashal and Miriam. And Rabbanan, who disagree, that the husband's commitment stands true even as per her ksuba collection from the Yisraelim. No shvua, Rabbanan, that's like Shitas Rabbanan, who hold likewise. Mask of the Rapapa. I still don't understand how this fully fits into Reb Shimon's words. This works with the first part of his statement. Shimon said, Kolzman, Shetevas Kesubos, as long as she's coming to collect, meaning even if the husband had exempted her, you're coming to collect, Hayorsh Mashbi and Oisa, there'll be a shvua. Okay, addresses that part. But what about the second part? He said, if she's not Shetevas Kesubos, the Yorshim will not be Mashbiach. Well, what's the point there? What's the redundancy? What was he trying to teach us with that? Michael Amemer, what was latent in that part of the message? So something's missing. There's something more to it. Ella Amar Papa says Papa, actually, there are 2 points that Rav Shimon was trying to make. Number one, as you explained, whenever she collects a ksuba, a shvua is imposed regardless of the conditions and stipulations and commitments set forth by her husband. But there's another one as well. The second point is, you see, back on that page above, we had a Mishnah which told us that a man can impose a shvuah on his wife, who happens to be running his day-to-day affairs there, his pratrupya. Right? This is in line with the Mishnah and shvuahs, that partners can impose shvuahs on each other to ensure honesty and integrity. Rabbi Lezer added another dimension as well, even if she's not really literally running his business, but she is managing his kitchen, his mini business, and you can impose a shvuah al pilcha al isasa on her threading and her bread making to make sure that she doesn't siphon anything off. Okay, so this is a privilege, a right, a kayach granted to a husband. And Rav Shimon disagrees. He says you can't live with a person who's going to be breathing down your back. You don't live with a snake in one basket. It's going to bite you. It's not conducive to a harmonious relationship. That Rabbi Shimon disagrees with Rabbi Lezer, with Machlokes, meaning the disputant of Rabbi Lezer, the Chachamim who allowed an ish to impose a shvuah on his wife, the apotropia. So whatever it is, Rabbi Lezer, they all basically are going with the same point, that you can impose shvuahs on a wife, even though you don't have a solid claim. It's just a shema, an uncertain claim, because a wife is treated like a partner in a sense. No, he disagrees. A wife is not a business partner. She's your wife. There's no point in making a shvuah, no justification for that, and therefore he disagrees with that whole halacha. So bottom line is, Reb Shimon, according to this chapter of Papa, Reb Shimon was sort of adopting polar opposite views. On the one hand, he said, even when a husband discounts, he exempts his wife or her descendants from making any shvuah, that doesn't work when it comes to collecting from Yisraelim. If she is coming to collect the shvuah from his kids, Yisraelim, a shvuah is required. The Takanas Chachamim overrides his commitment to her. That's number one. So he's adopting that sort of extreme view. On the other hand, he's going to the other extreme, polar opposite when it comes to the other halacha. He disagrees with the shita is that a man could just impose random shvuahs on his wife. He disagrees, nothing to him. Okay, so what do we learn today? An isha has a ksuba claim against her husband. He denies. He says, "I paid you. I have an eidecha to support my claim." She will have to make a shvuah. We conclude it's only with the rabbanon, but there's a way to turn into a shvuah d'oraisa by paying her again in front of the eidim, etc. And that turns into a shvuah d'oraisa. She has to defend her position against the eidecha, and that's called a shvuah d'oraisa. We learned that even Yisraelim collecting from other Yisraelim must make a shvuah. When you collect shaloi b'fanav, not in the presence of the loiva, so an isha can go and collect with a shvuah regarding Baal Choiv. According to Rav Nachman, he can do so as well. Otherwise, nobody's going to be interested in lending money. We concluded with Reb Shimon. We had several attempts at explaining his shita. We concluded with Rav Papa's pshat. On the one hand, collection from Yisomim always mandates a shvuah. On the other hand, he holds that a husband has no right to just randomly impose a shvuos on his wife. Shalom bayis is paramount. All the best to you and hatzlacha Rabbah.